All right, welcome back, Sebring. I think it's international configuration. This is a very tricky track to learn. If you are new to this track, it is going to take some practice. Be aware of that. This is a hard track to put down a fast lap. It is also a little bit more on the setup sensitive side, I would say. A lot of high speed corners here and a lot of hard braking zones. You need a lot of turning, and you also need a back end that isn't going to step out on you. And thankfully, this season, the race is not in hurricane season, so there isn't going to be copious amounts of water on the track. So that is a nice bonus. All right, ride height, 30 mils. Yeah, not a lot of stuff to go over here, but the track is pretty bumpy and there are some curbs that can be a little disruptive, so that ride height is up a little bit. 20 clicks on the front compression as normal. ARB is 0. Yeah, understeer here is not a good thing. Brake bias 57% for me. For you, it's something different. Do watch out though. Whatever your brake bias is set at, some of these high-speed corners, you really have to watch hitting the brakes hard. That's going to load up the front end and make the back end very light, and that is going to really want that back end to step out. So if you find that it is the back end is really kicking out through some of these high speed corners, you may want to try adjusting that brake bias also. Just don't stomp on the brake pedal so hard. Spring rates 22, low as they go in the front. You know my channel, it is asymmetrical. 2.3 on the left, 1.9 on the right. Go with the higher value if you want to keep them symmetrical. Left side's just doing a lot more work. Toe in 1.5, it is cranked up pretty high. That's to help with the braking, that's to help with the tire temps, that is to give you some turn in, because yeah, it really is a little understeery on this track. Spring rates 35, low as they go in the rear. Cambers symmetrical, 1.5 on each side. You do need a lot of grip. Those rear tires are doing a lot of work through this track. And toe in is 0.2. That gets the tires up to temp. I don't think you really need to go any higher. So, yeah, 0.2. Ride height 42 in the rear. Now, if you are following my setup, perfect. If you are not, if you're modifying it, just be aware. If you go any higher on the ride height, it's probably the yellow here, the camber is going to fail, so you may have to dial that back to 1.4. The ride height is a little bit higher just to increase that rake, just to get a little bit more rotation in the car. You can see ARB is 15. It is turned up pretty high, but it's not at 20. Again, very high speed corners, and that 20 is a little sketchy. So by increasing the rake a bit, that does give the car some more rotation without having to turn that ARB up to 20. Damper compression 6 and 18. Track is bumpy in certain sections for sure. But I didn't find it overwhelming, so I've left all those front and rear compression and stiffness stuff all the same. 14 liters, you are probably going to need all of that to do the race. I don't think you're going to get away with 13. And gear stack just not quite showing up there so well. It is tall. Standard is just you're reaching the rev limit halfway through the rear straight. So standard is not a good idea. Tall it is. Alright, so track conditions 40. I've been in a couple of practice sessions, been about 38, 41, so should be pretty close. Usage 35% as usual. Now with this new UI, um, the hot lap menu is pretty big. If anyone knows how to change these various sizes of menu while still having the same basic UI, let me know. So I'm going to collapse this because it's kind of eating up a lot of real estate, but basically it's a 216.7. You can see I had a 216.3, 7 sectors. This is a long lap. It is hard to string together seven sectors of really good times. So yeah, 216, and I ran out of time. I could have used a little bit more practice, but ran out of time. Um, Whoops. Oh, geez, I don't even know. There we go. All right, so we're coming into turn one. We'll run this out at slow-mo and then full speed. So turn one, fourth gear, obviously. Looking for the end of the yellow here on the side and starting to turn in. Nice and gentle. Watch the wheel input. Very easy to lose it here. You're going real fast and you crank that wheel, you're in for trouble. So just releasing the throttle a bit, lifting, getting on the brakes probably a little bit early. Probably want to get on the brakes about the start of the fence here. And then just releasing the brakes, just a little blast of brakes to slow the car down a bit. And again, watch that wheel input. I got a little sketchy there. And then you're looking for the cone up here. Once you are by that cone, you want to be picking up the throttle. Very important to pick that up nice and early. This is a long stretch of full throttle and you can lose a lot of speed through here. And then just watch, don't get into the sand. You can use all that curb on exit. Didn't quite nail that one, but for this lap, but it is my fastest lap. And then you're looking for, now this is a little tricky. Cold tires and cold brakes are a thing here. First lap or two, you probably want to brake just after the 3 cone, but once the tires are warm, braking just before the 2 cone. It does make a difference once those tires and brakes are warm. It does shave off some lap time, so you can brake deeper. Just the first little bit, it's a little sketchy. Fourth gear, down into second, releasing the brakes. Late apexes. This whole track is late apexes. Just remember that mantra. Do not turn in early. I even turned in just a smidge early here maybe, picking up the throttle well before the late apex. In second gear, just watch again, cold tires, don't stomp on it. You can do a little bit of spinning in there. Avoid this curb. This curb is not fun. You don't really want to get on it. Graze the edge of it, but don't get on it. But you do want to get on this curb just to open this up a little bit. So in second gear, again, I turned in a little early. You want to, be aiming for the edge of this pavement patch up here to turn in. Turn in too early. This cost me. This is surprising. This corner, nail this corner. This corner you can lose 4/10 in the blink of an eye if you mess this one up. So really watch out. This is a tricky corner. Again, you don't want to get onto those curbs. Those are unpleasant. And picking up the throttle before the apex, which I did barely, but I didn't nail it. On exit, again, this is one of those triangle curbs. Just watch out. If you go over the edge here, it is going to want to pull you into that sand. But the curb does flatten out at the exit here. So that is safe to get on there. Big stretch here, big passing opportunity, big battles. Lap 1, watch out. This is going to probably be a crashing nightmare. So again, cold tires, probably braking just after the 4 cone. But once the tires are hot, braking just before the 3 cone. Shifting real hard on the brakes. This is, I think, the hardest braking section. Down into first gear. Do not outbrake yourself. This is big trouble. And then turning in again, very late apex, releasing the brakes as you turn in. If you are still on the brakes hard and turning in, you are going to spin out. Getting onto that curb, it's not really too disruptive, and picking up that throttle nice and early, and then using all of the curb on exit. Watch that sand. You can pick up an X, but it's pretty forgiving. And then just straight line it as much as possible. Alright, coming into the next one, looking for, again, cold tires just after the 4 cone, but warm tires just before the 3 cone. Getting hard on the brakes down into second gear. And again, do not turn in too early. Maybe a smidge early here. Picking up the throttle nice and early before the apex. Just unwinding the wheel. You use all of that curb on exit. That is not too punishing. And then again, just try and straight line it here. Now, this part here is a little tricky. Unwind the wheel here. Don't force the car over to the left side for the next turn. Unwind the wheel. If you actually come out of there and you turn the wheel to get over to the left, that leaves the door open for someone to pass you, but it also can scrub a bit of speed. Not a lot of speed, but uh, it does scrub some speed. So unwind that wheel, just open it up, and you will save a little bit of time, maybe half a tenth, something like that. Nothing major. So as you get into this one though, make sure the wheel is straight. You don't have to be parallel to the line here, just make sure the wheel is straight. And again, just in real time it looks like probably between the 2 and the 3 cone, getting on the brakes. Not as hard on the brakes as the last corner. Little easier on the brakes, releasing the brakes, picking up the throttle nice and early. You can take this corner a little faster than the last one. It looks the same, it feels pretty similar, but you can carry more speed through there. And again, just try and straight line this as much as possible. Over to the right, just to open this up, you can clip this curb a little bit, it's not too disruptive. And again, looking for the 3 cone in 4th gear. Now, cold tires, you may want to be shifting down into 2nd, but I find once the tires are warm, you know, lap 3 for sure, 3rd gear is nicer. So yeah, it's in real time it's at the 3 cone for me, but here in slow-mo it is just after the 3 cone. Bit of blast of brakes, not super hard, just to load up that front end, slow the car a bit. You do not want to run wide here. Get onto those curbs, cut that corner as much as you can, and yeah, once you go over this is one of those raised curbs. Once you go over that, yeah, you're just head for this opening here. You're gonna get a slowdown. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And getting on the curb, you do want to keep over to the left here, and there is a slowdown here. I don't know what the magic is, how far over to the left you can go. Just be aware, you get too greedy, you are going to get spanked. So getting the car straight, I like to keep a tire just inside the white line. That's safe. There's no real great turn-in marker here. It is a late apex again. It's just you're gonna have to practice to feel it out. But kind of where the blue paint is on the barrier here, kind of gives you an idea. So we're in 3rd gear, shifting down into 2nd. Little bit of brake, just to slow the car a bit and load up that front end a bit. You don't want to slide out wide here, and picking up the throttle nice and early, very early. This is a big straight, obviously. You can use all of this curb, however, it's not too punishing, but the more to the left you are, the more trouble, little bit of time it's going to cost you. So just watch out for that. Big passing opportunity here, big battle, lots of draft, all that good stuff. The forever straight. This is where the standard stack really comes up short. Halfway through this straight, you are already at the rev limit. So tall stack it is. And again, looking for about the 3 cone. Turning in, watch the wheel inputs nice and gentle, just starting to lift. You want to have the car straight. You want to have the car straight and aimed at the warehouse, aimed at the cones up here. Wheel straight, that's the important part. Getting on the brakes, shifting down into 3rd, down into 2nd, getting the car slowed before you really put the wheel input in. If you come in here hot and you turn the wheel, you are going to be going for a ride. You are a passenger, so watch out. Yeah, once the car is slowed, and then picking up the throttle so early, so early. Cold tires, you do have to watch a little bit. You are going to understeer and slide a bit. You may have to have a little bit of a lift just to keep out of that wall. So just watch out for that. And then working your way up the gears, there's a little bit of a weird bump in the pavement here. It's not disruptive. And then just using all the track on exit, minimizing that steering input, just to carry more speed through there. And again, do not crank the wheel. And yeah, straight comes up on you pretty fast. So there it is, a 216.7. I think that will be fairly competitive, but definitely with the draft and such, 215s I think are going to be in the mix for sure. All right, good luck out there. I'll run this out at full speed. We'll see you next time.